and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Health. 12, legal notice number 101 of 2022 relating to crops MIRA regulations of 2022 and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development and Public Works. 13, legal notice number 102 of 2022 relating to the Coffee General Amendment Regulations of 2022 and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development and Public Works. 14, notice number 120 of 2022 relating to the National Transport Safety Authority, Transport Network Companies, Owners, Drivers and Passengers Regulations from the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development and Public Works. 15, legal notice number 141 of 2022 relating to the Kenya Roads Board General Rules of 2022 and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development. 16, legal notice number 146 of 2022 relating to the Accountants Quality Review Assurance Regulations and of 2022 and the explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning. 17, legal notice number 147 of 2022 relating to the Accountants Standard of Professionals and Practice and Ethical Conduct Regulations and the explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning. 18, legal notice number 152 of 2022 relating to the Accountants Examination Rules of 2022 and the explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning. And finally, number 19, legal notice number 153 of 2022 relating to the Accountants Regulations 2022 and an explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury and Planning.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable members, order.
Speaker, I want you to give us direction. It looks like most of these legal notice are of the previous administration.
Order, Honorable Tuale. You're jumping the gun. I have a communication on this. You can intervene after my communication. Honorable members, I have a short communication on the statutory instruments submitted between 4th June 2022 and 4th October 2022. Honorable members, as you may have noticed this afternoon, in fact a few minutes ago, the Deputy Speaker has laid before the House 18 sets of statutory instruments. The statutory instruments, commonly referred to as regulations, were submitted during the Sindie recess of the 12th Parliament, while others were submitted just after the inauguration of the 13th Parliament. Honorable members, the Statutory Instruments Act number 23 of 2013 provides that upon receipt of such statutory instruments, they should be tabled in Parliament within 7 days, or if the House is not sitting, as soon as possible when the House next sits. In this regard, honorable members, it is for this reason that I have allowed the Deputy Speaker to lay the 18 sets of regulations this afternoon. The consideration of the different regulations will now await the establishment of the Committee on Delegated Legislation. The committee should consider them within 28 sitting days thereafter. Honorable members, on a similar note, by way of letter dated 9th September 2022, the Honorable Attorney General brought to the attention of all state departments and agencies the provisions of Section 21 of the Statutory Instruments Act 2013. The effect of this provision is that A, there is a general revocation of statutory instruments 10 years after their making, unless they are repealed or a regulation is made exempting them from expiry. Subject to this provision, all statutory legislations enacted prior to the commencement of the Act stand to be revoked and are thus null and void as from 25th January 2023. B, an extension of the statutory instruments may be made for 12 months, subject to the consultation between the respective Cabinet Secretary and relevant parliamentary committee. Honorable members, it will be recalled that during passage of the Finance Act 2022 in June this year, this House extended the period of automatic revocation of regulations made under the laws relating to tax matters. This includes regulations made under the following statutes. 1, the Income Tax Cap 470. 2, the Stamp Duty Act Cap 480. 3, the Value Added Tax number 35 of 2013. 4, the Tax Appeals Tribunal Act number 40 of 2013. 5, the Excise Duty Act number 23 of 2015. And 6, the Tax Procedures Act number 29 of 2015. Honorable members, it is therefore expected that the state departments and agencies will approach the committee upon its establishment to consider whether similar treatment may be accorded to the rest of the impugned regulations to avoid any form of legislative crisis in the country. Honorable members, what this means is that the entry of the Committee on Delegated Legislation is already full even before it's established. The House is now accordingly informed and guided. Honorable Duale, does that solve your issue?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members. We'll now go back to the order. Yes.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give a notice of the following motion: that the thanks of the House be recorded for the exposition of the public policy contained in the address of the President delivered on Thursday, September 29th, 2022.
Order number 7, questions and statements. Order number 8, procedural motion, limitation of debate on the address by the President.
Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion: that noting the Standing Order 24(6) provides that the debate on the motion on the address by the President shall be limited to not more than 4 sittings, and pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97(1), this House orders that the debate on the motion on the address by His Excellency the President under Article 132(1)(a) of the Constitution, delivered on the 29th of September 2022 on the opening of Parliament, shall be limited as follows: no more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying. 2, no more than 15 for the designated party leaders. And 3, no more than 10 minutes for the other members speaking. And 4, at least 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply. Honorable Speaker, in moving the motion, permit me to inform the House, for the benefit of the newly elected members, that parliamentary debates are oral exchanges of opinions intended to facilitate the House in plenary to arrive at a collective decision-making on certain issues. Debates can take place on special occasions, such as opening speeches or at different stages of the examination of proposed legislation. Debates provide opportunities for us as members to discuss government policies, proposed laws, deliberate on current issues. Honorable Speaker, sir, debates allow members of Parliament to consider and address the concerns and interests of their constituents. Members can also speak about issues brought to their attention by the public. Debates are designed to enable the House reach an informed decision on any subject matter. Honorable Speaker, sir, with this understanding, debates are a critical mechanism for us members in this House. Indeed, each member ought to have an opportunity to debate and address issues affecting the citizenry. Honorable Speaker, sir, the object of this procedural motion is to limit debate by allocating the mover 20 minutes to move, 15 minutes for our designated leaders, and at least 10 minutes to any member speaking. This move, honorable members, will see us save time and accord more members an opportunity to make their contributions on the President's speech. In addition, approving this motion will also allow more newly elected members to make their maiden speeches as they contribute to the motion on the floor. Further, Honorable Speaker, when you calculate the time allocated for this motion, it totals to 1,020 minutes. If each member speaking contributes for 10 minutes, you will notice that less than 102 members will have contributed to this motion. I will therefore be seeking for extension of the sitting of time through this procedural motion to afford more members time to debate the motion. Honorable Speaker, sir, it is against this backdrop that I urge members to support this motion to enable the House debate the President's speech and to allow more members to make their contributions on the address of the President within the 4 sittings as envisaged in Understanding Order 24-6. Honorable Speaker, I now beg to move and request the Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu, member for Kitui Central, to second this motion.
Who is seconding? Makali Mulu. Yeah. The Honorable Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to second this important motion. But before I do that, Honorable Speaker, just to, first of all, quote your own statement. Since there is no doubt who the MP for Kitui Central is, I think I want to take this opportunity to thank my people before I second this motion. Because this is the first time I'm getting the opportunity to speak in the 13th Parliament. These Kitui Central people, Honorable Speaker, are very special. They have given me a 3rd term, which is not easy, and I must thank them. Honorable Speaker, this motion is very important, and the reason I'm seconding it, Honorable Speaker, is because it will give the House the opportunity to look at the proposed policies by the new government, to look at the proposed legal frameworks, because they say they'll be coming to this Parliament with some amendment to the law, and also it gives the new members an opportunity to make their amended speech, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the reason why I even support more the issue of the 10 minutes is because the new members will have time to say thank you to the people who voted for them. It was indeed to win this election, Honorable Speaker. And as they are aware, Honorable Speaker, when you are making your maiden speech, you are not interrupted by anybody. So you take your 10 minutes and say what you want to say. But even as you do that, Honorable Speaker, it will be important that they remember that it will be debating and addressed by the President. Honorable Speaker, even though this address was very short by all standards, but I think, Honorable Speaker, it has a lot of important policy statements and a lot of legal framework which is required for the president to implement some of the things he has promised Kenyans. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Speaker, that as a House, we need to limit debate to the allowed timelines in terms of minutes, Honorable Speaker. And by doing that, we'll have more members debating to this motion. But, Honorable Speaker, even as we say that, I want to urge honorable members to take time and read through the statement itself. Because, Honorable Speaker, it will not make a lot of sense if we all come here and we are talking before reading into required details the President's address, Honorable Speaker. I was able to listen to the speech, but I will take a lot of time. And I want really to encourage my colleagues in the Azimio coalition, because our work is to make sure that we